Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspot, Ireland's number one Spurs fan, Ireland's only answer to Harry Kane, presenting Tell Me Your Spurs Story. And here with us tonight, we have Brad sharing his story. Brad Matthews, how are you keeping, my man?
Good, thanks, David. It's a pleasure to meet you after all these months and that. No, really, really good. Before we start, can I just pass on my regards to Christian Eriksen and just wish him a really speedy recovery. That's probably one of the most scariest things I've watched on football. So glad that he's come through it. So all the best, Christian.
No, 100%. I echo that. You know, all the best to Christian, all the best to his family. Hopefully, he makes a full speedy recovery. And I agree with you. Look, it's not anything anyone wanted to see. And you know, a lot of the cameras still zooming in and everything around it. Why don't you just go straight back to the studio? What do you make on that, Brad?
Well, I mean, the feed was from Denmark. It wasn't the BBC.
But like the BBC or even over here, the RTE, they could have just
they should have gone back. I've seen some clips where you see him giving recitation and that sort of thing. I actually wasn't watching the game. Because I don't watch all the games, and I just thought, let's put the TV on and see how that game's going. And I watched on Twitter, and everyone's going, "Oh, I hope Christian's all right." And I'm thinking, "Oh, he's been injured or whatever." And his one of my switched on, and they're all around him. I thought, "Wow, what's going on here?" And then you realise, what's happened. The irony being is that when Maurice Mwamba went down in the Bolton game, I would have been there at the ground, other than the fact that I was at a mate's wedding that day, so I couldn't go to the game. But yeah, so it's sort of irony is it's happened to one a Tottenham player or an ex-Tottenham player and one at the Tottenham ground. So it's from what I gather, it's one of those things that happen, and elite sportsmen get it as much as the person in the street. So yeah, bit of a scare.
Yeah, it's just one of them reminders that everybody is human at the end of the day, isn't it, Brad?
Yeah.
But
look, yeah, definitely.
I want to say it's a pleasure to meet you. It's great to put the face behind the name, And look, I was speaking to Brad off air. I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but he was saying before all this there was a bit of nerves and everything else. I was telling him I used to be the same before I started. I just said and I want to encourage everybody out there. Don't ever be afraid to come on. Don't ever be afraid to come on and share your opinions. This is what my channel is for, and all the other Spurs content creator channels is for. So don't ever be afraid. Isn't that right, Brad?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. No, it's talking to David off air. It's like I've known him for years. So yeah. Don't be afraid. Yeah, took me a couple of months, but yeah, I'm here now.
No, look, you're here now, and we had a good chat. We had a good chat before we came on. I really enjoyed the conversation, my man, and I'm really looking forward to getting into this story. So, look, we will get straight into it, but before we do, make sure anyone that's watching, make sure you do smash a like on the stream. If you're new, subscribe on the channel. Make sure you put your comments in the video below. It really helps the channel, and it really helps Brad as well. Let him know what you think of his story and everything else. And if you want to do your story, grab a Gold Channel membership. Come on, and we'll get your story nailed down, and we'll get it out there. But look, Brad, supporting Tottenham, look, it's a roller coaster. It brings us fans many highs, many lows. It gives us great memories in life, that we'll cherish forever, and creates bonds that will never be broken, like mine with my father, like over Spurs. Look, I started supporting Tottenham because of my dad. I never had any choice. He wouldn't let me be anything else. When I grew up in Croydon, Crystal Palace was our closest club. I didn't even know they existed. For me, it was only Tottenham. So he'd done that good of a job that I didn't even know Palace existed. Well, look, Brad, enough about me, my man. How did you get into supporting Tottenham?
Right. Well, I got in through my dad, who was born in Edmonton, which, as you may or may not know, people watching, is literally next door to Tottenham. Yeah. And the whole family, like his brother, my uncle, my auntie, were all Tottenham fans. I think we even had an uncle that played for Tottenham in the 20s or something. Sid White, I think his name was. He is. I have found a record of him. He did actually play. He did exist. But so I always remembered supporting Spurs or getting into football and Spurs in 1968. But it's really, really weird. I only found this out a few years ago. My first ever game was Sheffield United at home. It was a 2-0 win. We got the bus there, probably 2 buses. And all I remember, the Park Lane end, which was seating at the top. And all I remember was a load of people shouting, standing up, sitting down, standing up, sitting down. And me asking my dad, did we score? Did we score? Okay, so I've got no memory. We won it 2-0. I've got no memory of what the goals were like or bits of the play and that. But the weird thing is that I only found this out. I always thought that was in 1968, but it wasn't. It was in 1967. It was the last game a week before the 1967 Cup final.
Oh, wow.
Where they beat Chelsea. And the funny thing was, I didn't watch the Cup final. I was outside playing with my mates. So it's really weird. I went to Tottenham, and then a week later they played the Cup final, and for whatever reason, I'm outside with my mates, sort of thing. So
I bet the Ola didn't miss it though.
No, he watched it, yeah, definitely. And the funny thing was that I got into football in 1968. England won the World Cup in '66, and Spurs won the Cup in '67, and then I get into football. So 1968 was my first season, and Dad gave me a book, The Road to Wembley or something like that, and it had all of the Spurs games getting to the Chelsea final and pictures and that sort of thing. I always remember flicking through that book, and I sort of knew off by heart who we played and what the scores were, sort of thing. So I remember that, and he gave me a couple of other books about the double winning team. I also read in that because he was from that era, the Bill Nicholson, Danny Blanche for our team. But the thing was I actually my first year of my life, or the first football season when I was born, was the year Tottenham won the double. So in May '61, they paraded the trophy down the Tottenham High Road in the big bus, and apparently I was there. Apparently, Mum and Dad took me, so I would have been about 9 months old. But apparently, I was there. I obviously don't remember anything, but yeah. So I think one of my birthday cards, Spurs send you a birthday card, or used to.
Yeah.
I think it's got the actual sort of the procession on there, and I thought, well, I'm there somewhere. But yeah, obviously, I don't remember that, and I don't remember the '62 Cup final or any football up until '68 season. Where I really got into. So my first cup final I remember was the '68 Cup final, I think West Brom versus Everton. I think the Jeff Astle goal, that sort of thing. So so I got into football then, and then some of my mates were into football. So I used to go with my dad and my mates. One guy called Kevin Hill, he's on Twitter as Hillsy, Kevin Hillsy. I've actually contacted him again in recent years, all these years later, sort of thing. But Dad used to take us to the games. We went to one of the games, Everton, where the floodlights failed. I remember that. And I think they abandoned the game at half time.
Yeah,
and we had to go home. There was a game against Chelsea. Now, I'm thinking, were we in the Park Lane end or the Paxton Road? We were at the top, and the Chelsea fans were below us, which were just all standing. And they started spitting at us and throwing coins at us. And I'm going to my dad, oh, look, they're throwing money at us, Dad. Sort of thinking that was really good that they're throwing money at us. Oh, they can have your eye.
Catching it for a soda on the way home.
Yeah. So I sort of remember that. That game. I remember going to Tottenham versus Wolves, FA Cup 1969. And we were down on the east stand, I think, down the front. And there's a couple other kids there as well. And St. John's ambulance sat in front of us. Hey, these kids can't see you, sort of thing. So they actually lifted us over and sat us on the bench. Now, my memory is it's literally on the subs bench, but I might be wrong. It might have been, but yeah, we're actually on the bench watching the game, and it was on Match of the Day, and I actually did do that as the player went past. Yeah, and I actually can see myself on Match of the Day doing that. You can find the clip on YouTube, but you can't see me doing that. But there is a clip on YouTube on it. So yeah, I remember that game. But yeah, those are sort of amazing days.
Do you know what, my man? Just as you were saying there about getting the books off your dad on Tottenham and stuff like that, you're just after jogging a memory of mine. Is funny enough, the only books I've ever read in life have actually been Tottenham books. My old lad gave me when I was younger. He brought me a book on the history of Tottenham Arsenal. I still have it to this day. I have a load of other books there on Tottenham history and everything else. And I just used to go to bed, used to read that. And funny enough, they are literally the only books I've ever read in life,
Really?
Honestly, in school, I they couldn't get me to read. I just wouldn't do it. Even they tried to buy me other books over the years. I just would not. I just hate reading. It's not for me. But they are the only books I've ever read in life. And I may actually dig them out because them books are in my mother's house. And I wouldn't actually mind getting them back out and looking back over them and all. Because I have them with a collection of programs. I used to collect programs for when I used to go in the 90s with the Outland. So I have a big box of programs and Spurs books, and they're the only things I've ever read in my life. It's insane.
I've got my earliest and I don't even know where it is actually. I've got a program from '69.
Oh wow.
And going back to my old friend Kevin, he tweets a lot, and he tweeted a picture of Tottenham versus Man City in '69, where someone threw a bottle onto the pitch, and it was back in December, so the pitch was bone hard, and the players were picking up bits of glass. And I remember that. And I
Yeah.
actually replied to him saying, "Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I was at that game." And he replied to me, said, "Yeah, you were with me." And I went, and then I saw the name. Oh, it's Kevin. It's Kevin, sort of thing, you know. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's mad.
funny how that's, yeah.
Come here, growing up in Edmonton, is it all Spurs around that area? Is there any
Well,
Renegades who, anyone that
we lived.
supports anybody else?
No, we lived in Haringey, which is still North London. So Haringey is sort of half Tottenham, half. It's probably more Tottenham, but that sort of part of North London, it's. I think Green Lanes. You got Finsbury Park one end, and you got Seven. I think it's the other part of Seven Sisters. So each end of Seven Sisters, the one end is Arsenal, one end is Tottenham. And I always remember my granddad used to draw roads on a piece of cardboard so I can play with my cars. And I always remember, names like Seven Sisters and, Green Lanes and all sort of thing. But yeah, it was mainly Tottenham Arsenal, Haringey. Then we moved out to Hoddesdon, which is in Hertfordshire, which is probably about just down the road, really. It's part of London now, but in those days
Yeah.
it's out the sticks. That's where I make my friends. And yeah, at school it's either Tottenham or Arsenal. I don't remember there being any other sort of clubs. But we went up to Everton once for a cup game, and it was so exciting because we got up at 6 a.m, sort of thing, and there's three of us and my mum and my dad, and off we went. We got lost. We ended up in Stoke somehow, and I always remember there's a young lad, a Stoke fan, and we're going, Spurs, Spurs, and I remember turning around to us and sticking his fingers up, sort of. So, we eventually. And we got to the ground, and Dad was really worried because his car had a coat of arms on it because he worked for a flower cutter nursery, and it had like Hertfordshire, so you knew we were from the south. He was a bit worried, and he parked his car in front of his house, and they were there. So, do you mind if yeah, no problems, park there. I mean, I can't do the accent, but I said, no problem, park there, we'll look after it. And they looked after our car for us, sort of thing, yeah. And we didn't go, but they invited us for a cup of tea after the game, sort of thing. And yeah, and I always remember not realising how football worked and sitting there thinking, oh, we're the only Spurs fans here. And then when Spurs ran on the pitch, the whole of our area went, yeah, and all started cheering.
Yeah.
You go, oh, wow, we're all together, sort of thing, And yeah, it was. I think Spurs actually won it 2-0, so it was a good day. And then I remember going to the service station. Service stations on the way back, and all other Spurs fans there, and come on, you Spurs! Well, actually, it wasn't come on, you Spurs in those days. It was up the Spurs, up the Spurs. You just walk past another person with a Spurs scarf, and yeah, it's brilliant. Loved it. But yeah, 6 in the morning, so exciting,
I used to love going with the lad. I used to love it, man. Them memories, they'll always stick with me. Just bit. And I never knew. I never used to know I was going. It kind of be walking up that day or that morning. You know what I mean? Be putting my jersey, make sure I had a coat to keep warm and stuff like that. And then just, off I go. I didn't even know I was going to the games. And the next thing I'd be rocking up, the old lad just be like, make sure you stay tight to me, don't lose me. You know what I mean? We get in and around the game. And I used to absolutely love it. As soon as I entered, and I was there, I was like, this is the place
walking up walking up those stairs and then coming out and seeing the pitch. I think it's we all get that, and I don't think we ever forget that moment. And then even when I used to go to the cinema in those days, even walking up the stairs to get to where the seats were, I think, oh, this could be the football ground. This could be the football ground. And I was thinking of the football ground, But yeah, those we sort
walking
of went
into the cinema, getting to the top of the stairs, and just like, come on, you Spurs. Everyone else like, shut up.
we went to we went to sort of random games. I sort of I don't know how we come go to this game sort of thing. And one day, me and my sister and my brother or ex-brother-in-law at the time, we went to see Tottenham versus Man United. And of course, in those days, you had to pay at the door effectively. And we got there, and it was all sold out. And I only found out later that looking back in it, that was Tottenham versus Man United. Tottenham had like Greaves, Gilzean, all these players. Man United had like Best, Charlton, Law. It was the classic Tottenham Man United game. I think it was a 2-2 draw. I think Spurs came back from 2-0 down to draw 2-2. And I think that's on YouTube somewhere. It's on one of the big match or something like that. But yeah, and then the other, without wanting to say their name, the other up the road when they came to White Hart Lane in 1971, whenever it was, we tried to get to that game, the Tottenham Arsenal game, and literally we started walking down the road, and a bloke who's next door neighbour, who was an Arsenal fan, ironically, he's walked over and says, "You won't get in, mate. It's sold out already." And I think there was something like 200,000 people tried to get to that game, and the stadium only held 60,000 or 50,000, whatever. Yeah, so I missed that, but luckily,
I remember sometimes, Brad, that I'd be brought up in and around the stadium. We'd have no tickets, but my old lad would always just ask around any tickets going, and he'd always get a ticket, whether it be outside and around the stadium, someone selling it to him, or sitting in a pub having a pint, just turn around going, any tickets, lads, there'd always be someone there. Yeah, how many are you looking for? You know what I mean?
Buy or sell tickets,
yeah. So we always used to get in. Fair play to him. Like, sometimes we wouldn't have tickets, but he used to go up there and he used to get them. So fair play to him.
Apparently, buy or sell. The reason they say buy or sell tickets is because it's not illegal to buy tickets. It's illegal to sell them, but not illegal to buy them. So when they say buy or sell any tickets, they're sort of covering themselves. So yeah, that's what I heard anyway.
It's just mad thinking about, because me, like, I wouldn't bother going up. You wouldn't even bother going up near a stadium anymore if you don't have a ticket. But back then, the old lad just used to walk up to the stadium. Anyone selling any tickets, lads, or into a pub. If you didn't get any luck outside the stadium, or that'd be in a pub. Any tickets going, lads, and there's always be someone. But you wouldn't dare go up to a stadium nowadays.
You wouldn't. Even as far back as sort of the early 90s, they still had getting at the ground. But that's all sort of finished now. And I guess it's one of the reasons I became a season ticket holder, because you go to every game sort of thing, and you didn't have to worry about sort of buying your tickets for the game. Well, you obviously bought the tickets, but you didn't have to worry about whether you could get them or not. So so it's in those days, it was just go to the ground, and if you couldn't get in, sort of thing,
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? But come here, Brad. Look, like I said, my early Spurs memories be going to games with the old lad. Him. When he bought me my first kit, I still remember it. Hewlett Packard, I think it was sponsored by Pony, navy kit with cream shorts. Like I said, the Spurs books, stuff like that. What's your earliest Spurs memory? One that you'll always remember?
Well, the funny thing is that the games I used to go to in the very early days, I haven't got much recollection of. I remember in 1968, we beat Arsenal 1-0, and as an 8-year-old, I still knew that we had to beat Arsenal, sort of thing. These were our rivals. We've got to beat them. I think some of the games I went to, some of the European games I went. The funny thing was, going to the European games, there wasn't, back in say 72. I think when Spurs won the UEFA Cup, 73, and there weren't many people there. They was only getting crowds of 17,000 and 20,000 in those days. It's quite weird. I do remember we played a team called Victoria Setubal from Russia, I think, or what used to be Russia. And we drew the away leg 1-1. And I always remember a guy in the paper saying that, I reckon this could go to penalties. These two clubs are that close. And I remember going in the ground and we won it 5-1. And it's literally, I think all 4 or 5 goals came from balls across and headed in. It's like an aerial attack. We won that. And another game where, I can't remember the guy's name, an Irish guy actually. What's his name? It was Tottenham versus Aberdeen. And I always remember there being a big Scottish guy in front of me. Come on, Aberdeen, the whole game sort of thing. Chris McGrath, that's the guy's name, Chris McGrath. And he was playing one of his very first games. And he scored 2 goals and Tottenham won 4-1. But some of the games, I say the Arsenal game, 1-0 against Arsenal, I don't remember the game. I remember the win. I remember saying I was there. I don't actually remember the win. Spurs used to have a free kick routine at the wall, and they'd always pass it to the guy, and then the guy would lob it over. And they did this every game. I don't think I ever saw it work, but every game they did it. And I'll tell you what game I do remember. I saw Stevie Perriman's league debut.
Wow.
He was 17. He wore a number 11, and it was against Sunderland in 1969, I think. And Spurs being Spurs lost 1-0. So, but yeah, he was this new up and coming young player sort of thing. So you're old when you
How
see a
good was
player.
he?
He was brilliant. He was so good in those days. I mean, I think he developed into like a sweeper and then a right back in his later years. But he was just like a midfielder in those days, and he was just very young but very talented. I think Alf Ramsey at the time said he would pick him for England, but he's too young. So he was very, very good. And I remember the game. I didn't go to the game, but we played AC Milan in the semi-final and went 1-0 down, and then Perryman scored 2 great goals to give us the win. He didn't used to score many, but we won 2-1. And that was on, like, in those days, there's no live football. You'd have to watch it on sort of Match of the Day and that sort of thing, and not listen to the score. Tottenham Chelsea in the League Cup semi-final, it was level on aggregate going into the last few minutes of the game, and again, it was a game that was on TV all that night. And my dad goes, "Okay, let's switch the news off. Let's not hear it in. Let's watch it tonight because it's going to go to extra time."
Yeah.
I'm laying there reading a book, and Dad's watching the news. And in the news, and Chelsea are through to the League Cup final with the last second goal against. He told me, and I remember just being in tears, sort of, so it's and then the League Cup wins as well. It's really weird now because people take live football so for granted now. The League Cup win, I think Dad was listening to it on the radio. And I was Tottenham versus Aston Villa, and I was getting upset because we weren't winning because Aston Villa were like a 3rd division team, and should win this easy. And then Dad listened to the radio. Yes, hearing him. Yes, he must have been upstairs in the bedroom. Yes, Tottenham 1-0 up, and then I think Chivers scored those 2 goals, and we won that sort of thing. So so it's amazing the games you do remember. Playing Liverpool at home in a FA Cup replay, losing 1-0, and someone in the crowd had a whistle. And Spurs 1-0 down, and they came on the tannoy. The referee will abandon the game if the whistle keeps continuing because everyone 1-0 down. Everyone starts whistling sort of. But those sort of games.
Did they get the game abandoned?
No, unfortunately, no.
That would have been brilliant. But look, Brad, what made me fall in love with Tottenham was being on the terraces with my dad, the atmosphere, all feeling like you're all one. Watching David Ginola run down the wing and the place just standing up, place just standing up, adoring the guy. Seeing Klinsmann, World Cup winner and all, in the Tottenham jersey scoring goals. What more do you want? I'm just seeing that, the adulation that our players used to get from the crowd. It was insane. Yeah. Still is to this day, to be honest with you. Maybe not so much over the last season or two, but up until then, it was insane. But look, what is it about Tottenham that made you fall in love with the club?
I think it's just the whole general atmosphere of, as you say, going to the game and feeling that buzz. And Tottenham, as have always been known for playing really good football. And the players, I think it's, as a young kid, it's the players because, I sort of grew up. I was lucky enough to see Jimmy Greaves play, and he, to this day, is still my favourite player. And I think it's that and the players. And you're right, singing they used to sing each player's name, and they wouldn't stop singing that player's name when they were doing the warm up until that player waved. So he'd have Pat Jennings, Pat, and then he waved, and they got to the next player, that sort of thing. And I'll tell you what, another memory which they don't do now is they used to play Matt Namara's band a few minutes before the team first came out. So you'd be there waiting for the music, and then Matt Namara's band would come on, and you knew that was it. They're going to come out now, and But it was that whole atmosphere. That sort of thing, and as I say, as a young kid, it was the players. It was because they was like sort of gods up there, and we had Pat Jennings came to our local community club once, and I went there and had my autograph on, signed my autograph, and then I remember my sister at the time had a big crush on him. And I thought, I should get an autograph for my sister. And I actually went up to him with a napkin and said, "Could you sign this for my sister, please?" And he signed the napkin. So, but Jimmy Greaves.
When you got home to her, she was sitting there kissing it and cuddling it and everything.
But Jimmy Greaves was like, as I say, in those days, you'd watch the game on Match of the Day. You wouldn't sort of see the live football. And I remember he scored a goal. There's 2 goals. He scored a goal against Newcastle and a free kick against Liverpool. And we didn't used to go out to the pub that much as a family, but every now and again we would. And I remember I was in this pub, and it's like on Match of the Day, I'm going to miss the Spurs game. And like, of course, no TVs, and the guy in the pub actually, well, we got a room out the back with a TV, and we'll put it on there, and just going out to this room at the back and watching the Greaves goal sort of thing. I mean, the goal against Newcastle, I mean, it's one of the ones they show all the time where he runs and he goes by. But the one against Liverpool where I think he got a direct free kick and I think Venables and someone else are arguing who's going to take it. And Greaves sort this and just goes up and takes it and scores sort of thing. But yeah, he was just brilliant. And we used to sing, because he obviously missed out on the World Cup final. But I remember in 1969, we used to sing Jimmy for England, Jimmy for England, sort of thing. Yeah, trying to get him back into the England team. And
Brad, I'm Jimmy Greaves. If he was to play nowadays, how good would he be?
I think football's different now, because he was like a, pops in the box sort of player. But let's not forget, he used to play against some pretty tough defenders in those days where they used to foul you.
There were days where they could kick you and everything else.
Yeah. And on these sort of pitches that are like, mud heaps. Yeah. But I think when you have that much genius, I think he would have played. I think he would have scored goals in today's. I can't think of a player that's similar to him, really. Yeah. Maybe Defoe, maybe, but there's a great story of him. I saw it on one of these documentaries where a young lad was marking him, and they were in the box and Spurs had a free kick and he'd marked him well. He hadn't that touch all day and really marked him well. They had a free kick and Jimmy Greaves looked up in the air and said, "Oh, it looks like rain." And this young lad looked up at the sky and at that moment they took the free kick. Greaves got away and scored the goal. Yeah, sort of thing. And that was the sort of
absolute shithousery at its finest. I love that.
And that's what he was. He used to pass the ball into the net. He never used to really welly it. And then he was very, very good. I saw the end of Dave Mackay before he went to Derby, managed Derby. Martin Chivers was another player, really big Martin Chivers fan. Pat Jennings is probably the best goalkeeper I've ever seen, ever. He was just so dependable. Perryman, as I say. But yeah, it was just those sort of games. But yeah, where you had to you had to like find a way of watching the game sort of thing, because it used to be Saturday night was always Morecambe and Wise followed by Match of the Day. And my dad used to be a singer. He used to go out and sing with this band. So he'd be out on a Saturday night, be me and mum at home. So yeah, you'd have Morecambe and Wise followed by Match of the Day, and that would be your Saturday night sort of thing, But
Jeez, what, lad? You had more back then to watch the games with than I did over here in Ireland in the 2000s. Because over here, for ages it was just teletext, right? That's how I used to get the results. Yeah. Or else if we were off doing a bit of shopping or something like that, or the old lad was out bringing us off somewhere, or we're out doing a family thing, we'd always be able to catch the score coming in on the radio or something. But if we weren't, it was teletext. And then, for a little while, we got one program on a Saturday evening where it would be the Irish version of Match of the Day, but it was a lot worse than that, but the reason why we couldn't get BBC or Match of the Day is because we only had 4 channels over here. We had RT1, RT2, TV3, and then the Irish station TG Carter. That's all we had. So it was mad, lad. So, you had more back then over there in England than what we did over here in the 2000s to try and get to watch the game.
That's what I was saying to you earlier. I mean, we immigrated to Australia in 1973, and we were what they call £10 POMs, so it's assisted passage. So you paid £10 and you could immigrate. And the whole family did. My mum, my dad, uncle, and aunt, the whole family went over there. And it was like, how do you get the football results? In those days, no internet, no sort of newspaper. You'd literally, the first way you do it is by phoning up a results service, like a recorded information service. And it had some monotone Australian voice, not putting a gap between the teams. So you'd have something like, it'd be like, Football League. And if you didn't get the start of the results, you got in midway because it was on a loop, you'd have something like Arsenal 1, Tottenham 2, West Ham 0. And you think, oh, so did we win 2-1 at Arsenal or did we beat West Ham 2-0 sort of thing,
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, how do I do that? It couldn't get those results. And then the paper might have the results on the Monday morning. They'd have the results on the league table. Because in those days, you didn't really have a lot of Sunday games. It's mainly the Saturday games. But then I discovered, and you'd listen for the BBC World Service, Sports Roundup on a Sunday. They had that, and you'd hear the results and maybe a report on the games. But then I discovered shortwave radio. So I used to tune into Paddy Feeney's Saturday special on shortwave radio, and it'd be like the afternoon's games. During the time difference this time of year, summer or winter in Australia, it was 11 o'clock kickoff. So it'd be 11 o'clock to say 1:30. But then when you went into the English winter or the Australian summer, it was like 1 in the morning. So you wouldn't finish until about 4 in the morning. And I used to get all the games into the game. This is during the season where our season in Division 2 had been relegated. The first time I ever got to hear it was when we beat Bristol Rovers 9-0. That's the first time I actually managed to tune in. And then you tune into that, and then as the time went on, you'd have the later games. But what I used to do is I actually used to record the games or record the reports, and then I'd literally have 2 tape recorders, and I'd actually put it onto like a master tape. So at the end of that season, I had all the reports of all the Spurs games. The season they actually won. They got promoted, which again they almost stuffed up. They were by far the best team in Division 2 that, but they left it to the last game of the season in typical Spurs fashion. But they actually had the commentary, Southampton versus Spurs. They actually had the second half commentary, but they normally had the last 20 minutes, and it was we needed a draw to go up, and it was sort of like, I always remember, and Barry in injury time we had a goal kick, and Barry Gaines would be the longest kick he's ever had, sort of thing, and 4-time whistle, we got promoted, sort of thing. But my friend Kevin used to send me paper clippings. I even used to every now and again go to the archive libraries in the museum, Adelaide Museum, where you could have British papers. They used to send over the British paper, and you'd find them for about a week, and you'd sort of read the scores, and because I wanted to know who the team was, who were playing, sort of thing, and you had that, and so there was all that sort of stuff. It was very difficult, but then it got better. You had like the match of the day or big match used to be on a week after the game, sort of thing. So so you'd already would have played another game before you could see the previous week's game. You had that, and the semi-final, the cup run in '81. I listened to the Wolves Spurs game. It finished 2-2, but the replay was something like 5-6 in the morning, and you couldn't get a good reception. You just couldn't get it on your shortwave radio. But the funny thing was, there used to be like a radio show called Baz and Pilko, right? It's like a Radio 1 breakfast show, that sort of thing. Pilko, for some reason, was a Spurs fan. And I remember waking up and hearing, and he goes, "Oh, good news! Spurs have proved to the FA Cup final, beating Wolves 3-0." I was like, "Oh yeah," sort of thing, And so that's how you didn't sort of. That's how you sort of got to know the games in those sort of days. And then they started. The cup final was always on live, so you could always watch the cup final. So I used to go down to normal football, the Para Hills Football Club, to watch the cup final, and it'd be in the evening, so it'd be like an evening sort of thing. And the '82 final was the replay, and we went around my mate's house, who just lived down the road, have a few beers, because the game would kick off at say 3 in the morning. Let's have a few beers, and we thought, "Oh, need to go." And my friend's dad said, "Oh, don't worry, lads, if you want to sleep, I'll wake you up," sort of thing. So we're having the beers, and of course, they have more beers, everyone's like this sort of thing. And I remember waking up, and it was dark, and I'm thinking, it seems really, really late. So we'll have switched the TV on, and they are walking off at half time with Spurs 1-0 in the lead. So I missed that first half. Everyone wake up, sort of thing. Yeah, his dad had fallen asleep and forgot to wake us up. So yeah. So I missed that first half, Yeah. So and then they eventually came up with British Soccer Week paper that would have all reports and that sort of thing. The club started putting on. You could sign up a member. They used to put on live games on the weekends, and you could do that on a Saturday. The first game I saw was Everton Spurs, or first Spurs game. Spurs were on the attack. The picture cut out, and when the picture came back on again, they're all congratulated us for Spurs to score. So so that's the sort of stuff that you had to put up with in those sort of early days.
That's like watching an illegal stream nowadays, man. So
exactly.
You can watch all the build-up play, and then all of a sudden, as soon as there's a shot or something, it straws or something like that. It's absolutely insane.
Eventually, you had eventually last thing that you had they had a composite of all the daily papers in England. So you had the UK Mail, the UK Express, all these sort of papers, and it'd be like the last week as a compilation sort of thing. Once digital stuff started happening, so you could actually digitally transfer it over. And the other one last thing, I actually had a load of things written down, was I found out Tottenham versus Arsenal in the semi-final, the Gaza goal, 1991, wasn't on live, but you could phone up commentary, which cost you an arm and a leg. So I thought, well, I can't phone up and listen to the whole game, but I phoned up, Spurs were 2-0 up. Oh, yeah. I can't put the phone down. And then I phoned up again a bit later. It's like 3-1. And I listened to about the last 5-10 minutes. It cost me 20 Australian dollars. This phone call, listening to the commentary, and Spurs got through.
Full commentary. That's a new one. I've never heard of that before, man.
Yeah. You could literally ring it up, but you had to pay through the. And one final thing, there was a British newsreader, an Australian newsreader called Nigel Ovenden. I think that's his name. He was a Spurs supporter. When Spurs won the Cup replay in '81, he read the news in his Spurs tie. So yeah, I remember that as well. But yeah, that was and also now you've got all your internet and that sort of thing. But yeah, it was very, very difficult to get hold of.
So you went through all the
information.
hoops then just to get the latest Spurs results.
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
you could find.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously it got better as years went on, but no, there's certainly no internet in those days. I was there till '93, so I came back to live in England, well, actually permanently in '95. So so just as the internet sort of starting to become a thing, sort of thing. But yeah, it was very, very difficult. But you still had the same feeling. The UEFA Cup win in 1984. I was around my girlfriend's house. Woke up in the morning, switched the radio on. And in football news, Spurs have won the UEFA Cup. Oh, that's how I knew we won the UEFA Cup. It's really, really difficult.
Yeah. No, it's insane some of the hoops you went through just to get the Spurs commentary. Fair play to you. But look, what is your favourite player to ever pull on the shirt, man?
Well, as I say, Greaves, Chivers. He's been a massive Martin Chivers fan. Oh, hello. You've disappeared, David.
Oh, we're back. Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
I'm hosting it now. Greaves, Martin Chivers, Pat Jennings in those early days. Obviously, when I lived in Australia, you sort of lose track of the players and that sort of thing. But I did come over on holiday, and I remember watching Paul Gascoigne play at Upton Park, and he controlled it in the first half, and he went off injured at half time, and he was man of the match in the papers for just one half of football. He was immense. Obviously, lucky enough to see Glenn Hoddle. The first game I saw when I came back in 1979, the first live game I'd seen for 6-7 years, was that game against Nottingham Forest, where Hoddle scored with that volley, where the keeper kicked it out. I think Chris Jones nodded it on, Armstrong nodded it on, and Hoddle volleyed it, and it went in. It's after about 3 or 4 minutes. And the funny thing was, I was literally sitting opposite where Hoddle was, and as the ball's dropping to him, I thought that's a goal. Yeah. I think we won that. We won that.
How good was Hoddle? My old lad always tells me about him. He says he was God. He was just way beyond these years. How good was he?
Brilliant. It was just brilliant. It's a tragedy that he didn't play more games for England because, in those days it was work ethic and that sort of thing. So he couldn't defend, but he was just so good. Vision, that sort of thing. They used to say his feet were like hands. He could put the ball where he wanted it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And he scored, for a midfielder, he scored quite a few goals and quite a few memorable goals as well, and he just had that, really, really good. He should have played more games for England. I mean, he played 60 odd as it was, but it's criminal that he never reached 100 games for England, but he was so good.
Why was that?
I don't know, because I think it's all down to work rate. It's all down, we want to, the old England mantra in those days was, hard, be hard sort of thing, They had no room for a class player like that. I didn't seem to. It was all about work rate and box to box, that sort of thing, But that's what your box to box midfielders do. Or the work rate, they do all the work, so you can have the players like that, Sort of. But I saw his first. I would have seen his first England game because I was over here in England on holiday, and it was the first game in 50 years to be called off because of fog. And they called the game off, and they played it the next night. But that was the night I'm flying back to Australia, so I missed the game. I lost the ticket now, but I had an unused ticket, and he scored in his first England game, and we would have been behind the goal that he scored in. So yeah.
No, that's unfortunate, man.
But again, I didn't see him a lot, but I do remember Ardillies when my dad walked into he used to every morning come into my room, a cup of tea, the Adelaide Advertiser, the local paper, and a piece of toast. And I always remember after the '78 World Cup, him coming, "Oh, Brad, guess what?" And that's when we'd signed Ardillies and Villa. Yeah, like Spurs scoop the world or whatever it said, sort of thing. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, my old lad absolutely adored Ozzy Ardiles as well.
But in recent days, I mean, obviously Kane, he'd make my best ever Spurs 11. Kane and Greaves, you play two up front, Kane and Greaves, wouldn't even think about it. Kane in these days. And you'll be pleased to know Robbie Keane, always a massive fan of Robbie Keane.
I was just about to ask that. He has to be there somewhere.
It's not because of you. I genuinely loved it when we signed Robbie Keane. Again, going back to Enoch, and I think this is Enoch's days, he went to Coventry from Wolves because Spurs wouldn't pay out the extra bit of money for him. So he went to Wolves and he went to Coventry instead, So, things haven't changed. And I always remember
though, wasn't he, Robbie Keane?
He signed for Spurs, and before he played a game for Spurs, but he played for Ireland. And I live in Ealing. I went to Ealing for a night out, and obviously they're showing the Ireland game. And I remember coming out from the pub, and there's this lad in an Irish shirt. I said, "Oh, did you watch it?" Go, yeah. Did Robbie Keane get through it all? And he goes, "Are you a Spurs fan?" I said, yeah. He says, "No, he's fine. He's okay," sort of thing. So I just feared that he'd get injured in his first game. But yeah, Robbie Keane. Yeah, Robbie Keane. I mean, Defoe was brilliant. He was really, really good. Current player, Ledley King, absolutely amazing defender. Just unbelievable.
Injury screwed him over, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, the current couple of players, Son's going to be up there,
Sort of, what about Modric?
What I said,
did you like Modric?
Oh, yeah. So I saw Modric. Yeah. I saw Modric. Now, I don't want to compare Modric to Ndombele, okay, because I know they're totally different players. But I do like the way that Modric used to have all these players around him, and he'd somehow come out with the ball.
Yeah.
And that's what Ndombele seems to do. Yeah, he seems to do that sort of same thing. But yeah, Modric's brilliant. Who else did we have? It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult to sort of think of the
Stephen Carr.
Ginola, obviously. Sorry?
Did you like Stephen Carr?
In the early days, yeah. And then he sort of ruined it all by leaving Tottenham to go to Newcastle because he wanted to win things. It's like, well, that's Although he did score the winner, didn't? Or he did play when Birmingham beat Arsenal in the League Cup final, wasn't he on the team? So I felt good for him then.
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, but no, in the early days, Stephen Carr was very, very good. He scored.
You said David Ginola there. He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He just used to be able to pick up the ball on the wing and make mazy runs. He'd always make something happen. He was class.
He was. I mean, Spurs have always had really, really good players. It's just that they've never, as a team, have never really sort of gelled until the Pochettino years, possibly. Certainly in my lifetime, I never saw the Pleat team in the '80s. Or I knew about it, but I never actually saw them live. But yeah. So there's and I'm sure we'll have some. There'll always be decent Spurs players long after Enoch have gone. So
Hopefully. But come here, just speaking to you there. It's not a question I usually ask, but I'm going to ask it. What's your favourite decade of being a Spurs fan?
Ooh. Okay.
And it wasn't pre-planned. Anyone that's that's why doesn't he have an answer? This wasn't a pre-planned question. I just made it up there on the spot, so I guess perplexed him a bit.
I guess because really for watching Spurs regularly, I've only really watched the early days, and then the '80s obviously were brilliant. We won the League Cup, the FA Cup twice. I think we got to the League Cup final. We won the UEFA Cup final. Well, we were in the FA Cup final in '87. What else was there? Yeah. So I think that was a good decade. The '90s not so good. I would say it's difficult because the last decade under Pochettino. I know you're going to ask me my favourite Spurs manager, but the Pochettino team was, 2017 was the best Spurs team I've ever seen.
Well, look, if that's the next question, is your favourite every manager? So it's a great insight, great segue into it. So look, take it away. Favourite manager?
Right. Well. Okay. So we start off with Bill Nicholson. He was the manager when I first started watching football, and his record is phenomenal. Absolutely brilliant. He should have been knighted. He should have been England manager. He was actually phenomenal. And then Martin Jol. I mean, as I say, David Pleat's team were good, but I wasn't really seeing. I wasn't in Australia at the time, but certainly when I've come over and been a season ticket holder, the Martin Jol team, he was. I mean, he was the one that started this whole Tottenham revolution. When I mean, I was actually quite excited about Santini being manager because he's a manager of France. They play good football, and then obviously he didn't speak a word of English and left for whatever reason. But that was great because it meant Martin Jol took over. He got that mentality. He started the mentality because Spurs never had that. We all know the Alex Ferguson, come on guys, it's Tottenham, which hurts. That sort of he got that mentality up there, and then Redknapp's team. Redknapp got us in the Champions League. He had a good team, played really good football, and we could have won the title in this year. That was the year that we wanted to get. Tevez, and we ended up with Sahar on a free.
It was Tevez and Gary Cahill, and we ended up getting Ray Nelson and a crocked Wilfred Zaha. Yeah. But before we talk more about Harry Redknapp, I want to ask you a quick question on Martin Jol. Martin Jol, did you see his interview with We Are Tottenham TV?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Even and do you know what's mad? Just how much this guy is kind of inadvertently done for Tottenham, because he was saying when he was at Ajax, he changed Christian Eriksen. He brought Christian Eriksen through. Yeah. He changed Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld to centre backs. He changed Moussa Dembele from a striker to a midfielder. And I think there was another one or two players there. But these are all players that even formed the next era of Spurs. After Harry Redknapp. It's insane, isn't it?
It is, and he's a very underrated manager because he did that. He got, as I say, it's the old. I used to see the old Martin Luther King speech. He said, "I might not get to the top of the mountain with you, but you will get there," sort of thing. It was the last speech he made before he got assassinated. But Martin Jol, that sort of reminded Martin Jol said, "Well, I might not get there when you reach the heights. I might not be there with you, but you'll get there," sort of thing. And he started that off. He just really started that sort of whole thing off. And then I said Redknapp. I'm trying to think it was in between because we had some dodgy managers, didn't we? Between I'm trying to think who. I can't think the actual thing. But Redknapp. I think we were literally. That's when Van Persie was scoring tons of goals for Arsenal that season, and I always remember guys.
That's the man we had before Harry Redknapp.
That's the one, yeah. Who ironically.
Won us the League Cup.
We won a trophy, So it's one of those sort of ironical things, and then Christian Gross, oh dear me, with his little train ticket. But Redknapp. Someone once said to me, and I don't want to bring Arsenal players up, but I will. Van Persie was scoring loads and loads of goals for Arsenal that season, and this guy said to me, sitting next to me, he said, "If we had Van Persie, I think we'd win the league." And I think at that time we didn't really have a striker or a decent striker, as you say. We went for, we got. Sahar. We didn't have a proper striker, and he probably weren't. We were as it always is with Tottenham, a few players outside from actually doing good. But then, of course, the Pochettino years. I've never felt, and I'm not the only person saying this, as you well know. I've never felt so close, so attached to Tottenham Hotspur as I did during those seasons. As I was saying off air, but for a bit of luck. We could have won loads of stuff under Pochettino. All those semi-finals, the two finals, all those second-place finishes. I've never seen Tottenham actually be in a position to win the title, ever. All right, under Pleat, I think we might have had, but actually watching the game, and we did it. And it's just so it's sort of sad that my father passed away in 5 years ago, and that was the Leicester season. And he passed away probably about 2 or 3 weeks after the season ended. And I knew that I knew it was the end days. I knew that but I always said, really, because I saw the first year of my life, Tottenham won the double. I thought, wouldn't it be nice if Spurs won the title in the last year of my father's life? But unfortunately, it wasn't to be. And but that season, we were, I always think we came second, but we came third. But the 2017 season, that is to this day is the best. Certainly, going to the games live, the best Tottenham team I've ever seen, because being Tottenham fans, and this is why I admire your confidence. I'm on the other side of the road. I was like, and you used to go to the games, and it'd be like, what's going to go wrong someday? You're gonna, and you'd be playing your West Broms or your Stokes. Maybe this could be the day that it will all go wrong, but it didn't. We'd go and play West Brom, beat them 4-0, beat Stoke 4-0. And I think we had one draw. I think we won, or 2 draws and won all the games at White Hart Lane that season.
We won. We didn't lose a game at home all that season.
We were just unlucky that Chelsea were just phenomenal that season. Ironically, under Conte, But Pochettino, so upset when he got fired. It was, Yeah, we didn't have a didn't season that like final season, but I think the Champions League did him in. I did the whole team in really. I think that was the peak of that team. But if we'd been putting things in place to replace the players in that team, we could have gone
Yeah.
on. But it just sort of came to a stop.
Just a question on Pochettino there, Brad. Do you think if we would have kept Pochettino, kind of, giving them the money to kind of rebuild, do you think we could have built maybe an Alex Ferguson era with Pochettino
I
maybe?
I really thought Pochettino would be at this club for the rest of his career. I really thought that. I thought that yeah, we're gonna, because he built the team up. I mean, his first season, we ended fifth, but he had the
Yeah,
very famous game where Harry Kane scored the goal against Villa. We won the game, and they said, "Oh, that
yeah,
saved my career at Tottenham," that sort of thing. He just built it up and built it up, and we got better and better and better. And I always remember going to the pub to watch the Man City. I'm not sure if was this the Leicester season. It would have been Leicester season. Man City game at the Etihad, and we won it 2-1. That's when I think Ericsson scored, didn't he? And I think Kane got a penalty. Then they equalised, and when they got an equaliser, that's when they were on top of us. But we stood firm, and then
yeah,
we got the second goal, and that's when I suddenly thought, hell, this is a good team. We actually are a good team. We could do this,
yeah,
and unfortunately we never did. And again, the following season, it just, I mean, the following. Sad to the Leicester season, I think we draw against West Brom in a game, and
yeah,
that's all the end
yeah.
of it. And
That
then we had
was Chelsea. Then the Battle of the Bridge
yeah,
after that, I think.
yeah. I mean, you're a stats man.
Or
I
was it
worked
the
it
other way
out.
around?
Yeah, you're a stats man. I worked it out. I actually went. We had a really bad first 4 games of that season and a really bad last 4 games of that season. If you take the 30 games in between and average
Mm.
out how many points we got a game in those 30 games, and then give it to the 4 games at the start and the 4 games at the end, we would have won the title. I know it's easy
Yeah.
saying but it was that really, really bad start and a really bad ending.
Well, under Pochettino, we never actually really started the first 5 games. Like for me, it was coming to the point under Pochettino. I used to say to the old lads, don't worry about the first 5 games. It's after that we kick in, and we plateau and get stronger and stronger. First 5 games under Pochettino was a bit of a lottery.
Yeah.
Every
It
season.
was. Yeah, and I think Spurs have always been that. I think pardon me, I read a Stevie Perriman's autobiography years and years ago, and he said that Spurs always played it off the cuff at the start of the season. They never had any plans how they're going to play, and it was only as you went into the season they started playing how they were going to play. And I'm not saying that's how it was under Pochettino, because I know Pochettino had set methods, but I know exactly what you meant. And again with Pochettino, he had to get the players that would work with him, and he got all the dross out, all the players that wouldn't work if it's his system. He got those players in, and it worked. It worked a treat, and the confidence was up. It was just an amazing season.
We should have kept them and backed them. We really should have, because everything was a bit like Sir Alex Ferguson when he went into United. There was a game that saved his career. I can't remember what game it was. It was a cup game, actually.
A cup
game saved his career. Yeah. Harry Kane saved Pochettino's career at Tottenham. And, we were getting to like cup finals, semi-finals in the cup competitions, challenging for the league. And it was sad, rather than back him, letting them go for that rebuild and letting them build that dynasty. Because let's face it, what Ranieri done at Leicester is an anomaly. But over the course, if you look back at football, teams that have successful periods or managers that have been given the time, given 4 or 5 years, if not a bit more, to be able to build what they need to be able to build, to be able to go on and get success.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't happen in footballs nowadays, which is a shame, because we really should have backed him. We could have had a coach there for 10, 15, 20 years, Yeah.
Well, Alex Ferguson used to refresh, didn't he? No matter how well they did, refresh. Pochettino has dinner with Alex Ferguson, so obviously, liked it. They got on well. So obviously, he bent his ear a bit about, so he obviously had that sort of mentality. And I really did think that Pochettino will be here for the rest of his career, because he's at the right age. He's not aging. He's only in his 40s or late 40s. So it was just really, really sad that we didn't do what we, and some of those. I mean, I always look at I've actually I actually recorded the Champions League final. I went to the Champions League final. I've recorded it. It's still on I haven't watched it.
Yeah,
it's still there. One day I will watch it, but it's still there. I can't bring myself to watch it. In fact, I still think I'm in denial. I still think it has hit me that we lost. But
I won't. I won't go back and watch it. I will not go
no.
back and watch it. For me,
Well, the idea I was going to have is if we won it or got to another final, then I'd watch it. Sort of thing. But I always remember that game. It's all about small margins. Now we didn't play well that game, but neither did Liverpool play that well that game. You know, you had the ridiculous penalty.
Handball.
You know, and I didn't even see the handball. I'm actually looking at I have a stopwatch on my phone. I'm actually looking at my stopwatch to make sure it's going. And it's penalty. What? It was a penalty. So I missed the incident. And then we had the two moments in the second half. One when Son was through on goal.
Yeah.
And Van Dijk got that last-ditch tackle in. And he was brilliant. He was man of the match. He was the difference between two teams, Van Dijk. Got that last-minute tackle in. And then I think Moura came on a sub. And he had a shot and it went inches wide. And then a few minutes after that was when Origi had that shot and it went in.
Yeah.
And it's like literally, you're talking about a foot. You know, so Origi's shot was slightly to the left. You know, Moura's shot was slightly to the right. Just literally inches. Yeah. If Moura's shot goes in, you know, if Son gets through, could be a different thing. You know, I'm not sure how my heart would have taken it, but you know.
No, look, it was a sad day.
Small margins.
It was. But that's what the biggest games are decided on, my man. It's the smallest margins, you know. Yeah. So it is what it is. But look, moving on to the next question, lad. You know, what game will you always remember and why?
Ooh, okay, I'll go for the live games first because I think we all know what games I weren't at. I'll remember live games first. There's loads of games. I remember beating Arsenal 2-0 with the Danny Rose goal and then beating Chelsea the following week. I remember going to the League Cup final in 1999. When that goal went in, we was behind the goal that Nielsen scored. And I always remember that moment. It's like, you just don't, other people who don't follow football or sport don't know that feeling, that sort of elation when that goal went in. It's like, sort of thing. That trophy, that was an amazing game. We got.
You're making me jealous. You're making me jealous. Yeah.
I remember the Gareth Bale game against Inter because my dad he always talked to me about his European nights, and I didn't have one on my own. That was my first European night. Okay, that's one I've got now. The Gareth Bale game. But a game that sticks out was the Chelsea season. I say the Chelsea season because that's all. And we were playing at Swansea, and it was during the week, so I decided I'm going to have 2 days off work. I'm going to book a hotel and get a train up there, and go have a few drinks, watch the game, go for drinks, and come back, and then come back the next day. Yeah, easy to do that. And I always remember that, not knowing anybody, but I'm quite talkative, so I can talk. So I'd be in the bar and have a chat with people, whatever. I always remember the game was Chelsea were winning, I think, and we were 1-0 down, and it's like, and I'm thinking to myself, well, we should get second. If we get an equaliser, we'll get second. Because we don't, a draw would be no good for winning the title. But I thought, well, at least we can get second. That's something. Yeah. And then, of course, Dele Alli scored with 2 minutes to go. And then we got 2 goals in injury time. I think Son and Eriksson. And I'm behind the goal, and the whole place just went mental. Erupted. Yeah. It was unbelievable. And there's a video of me outside when I came out and took a little, I don't know what I've just witnessed. And mate, and then as I came out, I was wanting to get a taxi back to the hotel, and the police guy goes, they closed the roads. He said, but if you go to a hotel, there's a pub over there, go in there, they'll let you phone a taxi in an hour or so time. I went to this pub and I read about the pubs not to go into, and I thought, I'm on my own, no one's going to pick on me. Went into this pub, and it was half Tottenham, half Swansea, and I was having a great time. And I was in there, I'd stayed there the rest of the night, having a drink and a laugh and a sing and that sort of thing. It was just a brilliant day. And then the following day, hungover, getting the train, and a bloke walked past me, an older bloke, and someone asked him, hey, who do you think's best? This team as good as the 61 double team? And this guy goes, immaculately dressed, he goes, oh, no, the 60 double team were a good team. All right, Cliff, thanks, Cliff. And I thought, that was Cliff Jones. It's the old ex-Spurs player, Cliff Jones. So that game sticks out as live. But certainly games I've witnessed, there's only 2. There's the Man City Champions League semi-final at Etihad and the Amsterdam game. Now, I went to both home legs. In fact, the home leg against Man City was the first game at the new, and that's the best atmosphere I've ever seen in that new ground, was that game.
That penalty as well.
Oh, yeah. They got the penalty, which Lloris saved it. But I always remember being in the pub, and it's quite, it's West London, but there's a fair few Spurs supporters, and there's my friends are Spurs. We got pubs called the Greystoke, and we got Greystoke Spurs. There's three of us called Greystoke Spurs,
Yeah,
and I always remember when Sterling got that goal right at the end, putting the head in my hands like that, and literally thinking to myself, I don't want to get up. I'm going to stay
yeah,
here for the rest of my life with my head in my hands, and then getting up. Hold on a minute, they're looking at VAR, and then
yeah,
looking at it, and he's offside, and then that elation, and then having to sit through the next so many minutes. So that game,
yeah.
and then
Stop.
of course, the because I wanted to go. I was debating whether to go to the semi-final or the final. I couldn't afford to do both. I decided on the
Yeah,
final, which sort of made me regret now. But yeah, I've been to Champions League finals, and same pub watching the game, and at half time, as you know, 2-0 down, 3-0 down aggregate, and we're all having a drink, and we're saying, well, let's just hope that make a fight out of it. We might be getting knocked out, but put some effort into it. And then, of course, Mora scores 2 goals pretty quick, and suddenly you're in the game. Wow,
yeah,
we could do this. And then, of course, they had the chances, and oh, no,
yeah,
we're not going to do it, sort of thing. And then I think they hit the post or whatever. They could have killed us so many times, they never did.
yeah,
And I always remember looking at the screen, and I said, oh, this is it. Our last, so just lump it forward. That's all we can do.
yeah.
Just lump it forward.
Sissoko lumped it forward, didn't he?
Jeez, and it went in, and then the goal went in, and everyone went mad. Everyone's jumping on down, and then of course everyone says, "Oh, they've done it in the last. They've got to the final," but people seem to forget we had to go for about 2 or 3 minutes after that, and
Yeah,
that was painful. I keep meaning, so I've got that on tape. Give me to watch it and just see how long it was. We had to go for 2 or 3 minutes, and they're attacking. They got a long throw. Oh, no.
yeah,
And then Lamella got the ball, didn't he? I thought, just boot it, Lamella. And he tries to
yeah.
nutmeg the guy. And, oh, gee, then the ball goes,
I was
just
going
hold
mad.
it.
I was going mad. I was
Oh,
like, I was screaming at the TV. I was like, have you not learned lessons against City? Just get rid of the fucking thing.
exactly. And then Sissoko been brilliant the whole season. He gets the ball and you think, run to the corner, and he loses possession.
Yeah,
And then I was like, and then of course I think the ball went back, and then the referee blew the whistle, and then it's like by that time I'm literally from being at the start of the game on the table, I'm literally in front of the screen. It's like,
yeah.
and I will never ever forget that moment.
No, neither would I.
And that was sounds really sad. It's probably the best night of my life, and it's
No, well, look, loads of people
it
have
is
said that. It's not sad
it's
whatsoever. Best night of my
it's
life too.
just amazing. And you know what? The landlady, it's a sports pub. The landlady doesn't like sport, and she literally minutes after the game, she puts music on. So we're seeing the celebrations and I thought, I hope I've recorded it, the whole thing. So I actually watched it the
Yeah,
next day, and of course, getting very, very sad, very teary next day because my dad never got to see that, and
yeah,
that's so watching the whole thing back the next day, and then right at the end, and and I'm sure you do, still to this day, the tears well up when you see that ending.
yeah.
It's
Honestly, man, growing up, I've been surrounded by Liverpool United fans, and I just, like I've said this many times, they used to go in and watch their team European nights, and I was never ever that privileged. Then, suddenly we got the Europa League. I used to take that, but they used to be like, oh, that's the Mickey Mouse Cup, this, that, and the other.
yeah,
But just to see us get to the Champions League final, man,
yeah,
I'll never, ever, ever forget it. Oh, look, the final didn't ultimately go the way we wanted, but the journey and the story to get there,
oh
the
yeah,
way we got away with it against City, last
oh
minute
yeah.
against Ajax, even
We'd
that
still
group
win it, wouldn't
stage,
we?
that last game, we still had to get a result in that last game to get out,
Yeah, yeah,
and we
exactly.
needed the Inter Milan, result to go our way
Yeah,
as well. Everything went our way that season,
yeah.
and it was insane because we actually started off that group stage. I think we didn't win any of our first 3 games. I
Yeah,
think
we
it
lost
was.
against Milan and lost against Inter and then lost against Barcelona, didn't we? I think. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we
No.
still needed to beat PSV to be sure, to still be in it, and then we went 1-0
Even
down.
that first game against PSV I was pulling my hair out watching it. We should have
Oh
a
yeah,
PSV
yeah,
team we expect to be beaten,
yeah,
and they were pulling
yeah.
us apart.
And they're really a reliable Alderweireld makes the one mistake I've ever seen him make, and they score and.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. We were just how we got there is unbelievable, but yeah, we did, and that's why everyone thought we were going to win this,
yeah,
and sadly not to be. But yeah, it's I was so disappointed that we played Liverpool in the final. I didn't want it to be an all English final. I wanted to play Barcelona in the final.
yeah. Well, yeah, I was the same. I wanted
Yeah,
I wanted an exotic team in the final, English
yeah,
final. It is what it is, but I hate
yeah.
Liverpool, and that's for them to beat us, it kills me. It kills me.
Well,
But look,
I
man,
work with Sorry, go on. Yeah.
No, go on, go on.
I was going to say, my colleague at work's a massive Liverpool fan, and he's just as passionate as I am. And I remember getting back to the office on the Monday, and he just came up to me, gave me a hug, said, "You deserve that, mate." So
Yeah.
so it was, but I would have rather have played Barcelona. But just because I thought, well, Madrid, they're all going to be supporting Spurs. All the locals will be supporting Spurs, but obviously because it's Liverpool, there you probably get a half and half and that. But
So
it was a
moral of the
great.
story, there is actually one decent Liverpool fan out there. So
Yeah, no, he is actually. He's a decent lad. But yeah, I know what you mean. No. But yeah, no, that the whole trip, I literally, because I got the charter flight from Stansted, I literally walked out the door 6:30 in the morning on a Saturday and walked back through the door 6:30 on Sunday morning. So literally 24 hours from there and back because we couldn't go back to the fan zone. We didn't get there in time to go to the fan zone anyway, but we couldn't go back and have a drink. We just literally went straight from the ground to the plane. I mean, they only had alcohol outside the ground. Inside the ground, there's no alcohol. So luckily, they had a bit of a bar outside, so I was able to have a drink before the game and that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm so glad I went. Just the result go away. But yeah.
No, look, at least you can say you were there. Look, maybe not so soon because it's still raw now, but maybe in another couple of years, you look back, the incredible run. I was there. I got over there to the Champions League final. Honestly, man, you will look back at that at some stage when it's not as raw. And you'll be glad you went, But look, what's your favourite ever goal scored in a Spurs jersey?
Well, I think the one that I was chatting to you, the Hoddle goal against Nottingham Forest, the volley, which from the goalkeeper's kick, it never touched the ground. That just went in. How could I forget? Son's goal against Burnley. Oh no, that's the best goal ever because I was certainly the best live goal I've actually witnessed live.
Were you there in the stadium for that?
Yeah, and it was just because I'm in the east lower, so I'm sort of where more of the south stand, the big giant south stand is. So he got it from the other end of the pitch, and then as he's running through, as he's going on goal, I'm thinking, oh, you've got to score because this will be the greatest goal ever. Please don't miss, please. And of course he scored and it's just amazing goal, just so brilliant. And even today when you watch it back, he just puts on the acceleration, goes past the whole team, and I think
it's just one of them moments. I watched it back there only the other day, and it's just one of them moments. The more he's running with it, the more confident he's getting, and you're just not taking him off that ball, It's just insane. The more confident, the more he's going, the more strength he's running at, the more speed he's running at. It's unbelievable goal.
Even watching when I came back over here on holiday in '86, my cousin took me to go. My cousin's a massive Spurs fan as well, and I think Terry Yoroff scored from a volley outside the box. We won. I think we won 1-0, 2-0. I mean, that was just brilliant. This volley from out sort of thing, and obviously the Danny Rose goal, sort of, which again was going in as soon as he hit it. That's in. It's like But those, the sort of, and then the great goals. Hoddle, as I said, Hoddle's goal. Well, I think he scored a similar goal.
Free kick against Arsenal.
Certainly the funny thing there was I didn't watch it live because being in Australia we couldn't see it live, so I had to watch it. But certainly that, and everyone knows he's going to have a great. He is, and everyone knows the commentary sort of off by heart. That was a superb goal. I think I'm sure Robbie Keane scored a load of decent goals. We dribbled.
Robbie Keane scored some great goals, lad.
Goal line and dribble past a load of players and put it in. Obviously, watching the FA Cup final live, the Ricky Villa goal. Still Ricky Villa, what a fantastic run! He scored, and it's just like
what about that Ginola versus? I think it was it Barnsley?
Barnsley.
In the FA Cup one. I
watched the highlights that night. I just thought I'm not going to see the score. I'm going to watch the highlights, and you saw this run. And what a goal! Sort of that was just superb. And even actually another good goal was Martin Shivers against Aston Villa in the League Cup final in 1971, where it was. He just draws it down and just little, because he's a tall guy. Brings it down, just sort of little bally things and puts it in. And it's just those sort of goals. But I mean, I'm sure after this thing, I'll think, I forgot that goal.
Look, there's loads I can even think of now. There was a season opener, Asso Cotto against Liverpool.
Oh I remember that. Yeah.
Wanyama strike against Liverpool nearly broke the fucking net.
Yeah.
Modric even got one against Liverpool. I remember Modric scoring a screamer against Liverpool.
Oh yeah, that was
Harry
4-0
Kane's
win.
goal in from the corner flag against Arsenal.
Yeah.
You
The
know,
only thing that makes that goal, yeah. The only thing that
when he
saddened
had
me
the
about that
mask,
game was
remember he had the mask on,
yeah.
took it off.
The only problem with that goal was, or not the problem with the goal was that we only drew that game. That put us 2-1 up. They got bloody equalised, didn't they? So, that was superb. I mean, even goals this season. Just
Christian
one against
Eriksen
Palace.
against Chelsea, actually, there. He
Oh
scored an absolute rocket.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was our
Dele
first
Alli
win at
against
Chelsea.
Palace. The solo on the volley.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm watching Soccer
Beautiful.
Saturday. Yeah, watching Soccer Saturday when they say, "Oh, you're not going to believe this sort of thing," and that was just superb.
Is it Eric Edman or Retro Ziegler? They have a beaut as well. They absolutely just cracked one from about 35, 40 yards under Martin Yole. I can't remember whether it was Ziegler or Edmund, but one of them, I think I'm going to say Edmund.
Edmund had one against Liverpool. Yeah, Edmund had one against Liverpool that he took from miles out and it went in. I think that was one. I think it was one. Was that 1-1 or maybe we lost? I can't remember. We don't do well at Anfield.
Not sure. I just remember being in the pub with the old lad watching it.
Yeah, no, that was Eric Edmund. Defoe scored some classic goals as well from outside the box. I mean, I compared him.
He's 5 against Wigan. Remember our 5 against Wigan?
I was there as well. And you know what? We're walking home I used to get a lift with a friend of mine, and we're walking from the ground at 9-1 it was. This guy says, "Oh, excuse me, mate, what was the score?" I said 9-1. He goes, No, don't take the piss. What was the score? He thought we was taking the mickey out of it. No, it was honestly 9-1. I've got a friend who's a Wigan fan. He actually had tickets for that game, but he was ill, so he didn't go. And of course, Wigan actually refunded all the tickets for the fans that went to that game, and he got a refund even though he never went. So so
happy days.
Can you imagine Spurs doing that?
No, fair. Daniel Levy, like, oh, we don't have the money to refund you because of this, because of that. But look, we've 2 more questions to get through here, Brad. And the next one is what does this club mean to you?
I was trying to think of that, and I think it's all about emotion. It's about how it makes you feel. Because there's not much in life. As I said, I'm single. I've got no kids. So I don't know what having a son or a daughter is like. People say that's really, really good. So I don't know what that's like. I think it's that I'm trying to think what else in life gets me so excited or so down or so stressed. And football, Spurs does that. So I think it's that, and it's that camaraderie which I was talking to you earlier that's come up during the lockdown season of YouTube and that sort of thing, with all the watch-alongs and get to know people on there and feeling that I know them, I've known them for my life, my whole life, and it's that sort of community, maybe that sort of community, that sort of feeling that you're all there as one, you all want the same thing, so you're all happy at the same time, you're all disappointed at the same time. And I think, that emotion, and then the fact that'll affect how you are next day, and you'll either be happy or sad. And then even walking down the street, if you've had a good win the day before, just walk down the street. And it's that is definitely that sort of thing. And once you've had it, I used to work with a lady who didn't understand football. She would say, so your sport asked to win the Champions League because they're a London team. No, it doesn't work that way, But I also I understand people that don't like football, and even though you won't have to stress, but you'll never have that feeling that you get those Amsterdam moments or those Swansea away moments. You'll never have that feeling that you get when that happens. It's like, and I feel sorry for people that will never experience that.
Speaking of people that don't understand football, it's my mother. Right, we could be, me and my old lad could be sitting there absolutely devastated, right? Raging. Tottenham are after losing or pissed off at Tottenham. She'd come in, she'd be like, "Oh, what's wrong with you? Grow up, you're men." And you're kind of sitting there, you're like, you just don't understand it, you just don't. Especially after Champions League final, right? I was gutted. I just wanted to go home. I just wanted to cry.
Yeah.
And she's sitting there asking about the game, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Ma, I really don't want to talk about the game."
Exactly. Exactly.
I just don't want to talk about it. And it's like, "Oh, it's only a game." And I'm like, "Oh, I lost it." I was like, "It's only a game. You don't understand what the Champions League final is." Tell me, exactly. Man, honestly, sometimes, my missus was like that at the start when I got with her, man. But now she kind of she sees how much I love and my passion for her, and she
Yeah,
kind of understands it now. But at the start, she used to be the same. Oh, it's only a game, and like I used to
and
sit
it's
there
sort
and
of,
correct her.
yeah,
I used to sit there and
it's sort
correct her.
of,
I'd be like, first of all, it's not a game. Do you know what I mean?
no, yeah, and it's something that will never leave you. It's something that you know you'll have the rest of your life, you know, and it's that emotion that you just don't just right on that you know, sitting there watching, you know, when you're 1-0 up in the last minutes and they've got a corner and you just sort of, you know, you just tense up and you're just so nervous and your hands sweating. That sort of thing. It's that, you know. So
Yeah,
so that's what I take away from Tottenham and uh, the memories obviously, you know, and how you
yeah,
felt and all that sort of thing. And yeah, definitely.
yeah. Well, look, you know, moving on to the last question. You know, what is your most cherished Spurs memory, my man? One that
Okay,
you'll always remember with.
this is one that literally happened the other year. Okay, so I came back to live in England permanently in 1995.
Hmm.
So I would go back to Australia when I could to see mum and dad and my Australian friends and that sort of thing. And when I went back, by that time they'd started getting live stream like Sky on there. So if a Spurs game was on, I'd watch it with my dad. And I went back in 2015, and Tottenham played at Newcastle, and they won 3-1. And Harry Kane, I think, scored the third goal. And I remember sitting there going, watch it with Dad, go on, Harry, go on, Harry, go on, Harry, yeah, sort of thing, enjoying that sort of moment.
Yeah,
And then, unfortunately, my father passed away the following year.
yeah,
But a few years, maybe a year or so ago, they had Harry Kane's first 100 goals for Spurs on Sky. And I
yeah.
watched it, and they've got that Newcastle goal. And I suddenly thought to myself, that's the last Spurs game me and my dad ever watched together, you know?
Wow.
And
Yeah,
it is a real special moment watching it. I probably got all choked up as well. You know, I thought that's the last game me
mm,
and my dad, or certainly
yeah,
Spurs game. It's the last game that me
yeah.
and my dad watched. You know, and I've kept that thing, so that's always there. But yeah, that sort of
No,
memory
that's
that
an
I'll have.
incredible memory.
Yeah.
Incredible. Honestly, it's the best. It's the best answer I've got to that question, my man.
Thank you.
It's absolutely incredible, and you know, look, it's a memory that you can always hang on
Yeah.
to now. You know,
And
one that you can always cherish
this
until your last days on
yeah,
earth. You know.
this top Spurs double winning top. Uh, this is what I bought for my dad for his 80th birthday.
Yeah.
So and I
Wow.
sent it to him for his 80th birthday, and he was 89 when he passed away. So you know, he had a good life.
Yeah.
And when I went to, because I'd already arranged to go to Australia in December, I managed to get over there just before he died. So I managed to see him before he died.
Yeah.
Literally died the next day. So I'm grateful for that. But I'd
Yeah.
already organised an Australian trip anyway. So I went over and I said to Mum, can I have that shirt? And of course you can, sort of thing. So yeah, so
Yeah.
it hasn't brought us much luck, but I wear it when watching the big games, you know, like the Man City Cup final this year. Because I thought, even though I don't believe in the afterlife or anything like that, but it's
Yeah.
having sort of part of my dad with me watching the game, sort of thing. He's
No,
there watching,
100%.
you know. But
100%. I fully get that, my man. I fully get that. That's an incredible memory. It really is. But look, I've really enjoyed listening to your story. I
yeah,
really
it's been
have,
good. I've
man.
enjoyed it myself. Yeah.
No, thank you so much for sharing their memories with us. It's been absolutely brilliant. And to everybody else out there, I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. If you did, make sure you do smash a like on it, smash a subscribe on the channel if you're new. You know, why not grab a gold membership? Come on and share your memories, just like
Yep.
Brad has here. You know, I want to say a
Yeah.
massive thank
Highly
you to you,
recommend it.
Brad, for giving up your time.
No problems. No, it's been really, really enjoyable. I told you wouldn't shut me up once I started. But no,
No,
it's
look,
been
it's been brilliant. Some incredible memories. I've really,
thank you.
really enjoyed this. You know, and it's what this show it epitomizes why I started this and what this show is about.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed it. So thank you for sharing your memories with me and everybody
Yep.
else out there. I want to thank you to the Harris Army and anyone else for tuning in. Until next time, come on, you Spurs.
Thank you. Come on, you Spurs.